Hey guys, welcome to the Brad Planning channel, and today we are driving and talking about MacG's $1 million deal that he subsequently rejected. Lots of reaction on that, lots of different opinions and so forth. So I just want to add my 2 cents to the matter and just really open up the dynamics of such situations and why I agree with why MacG would or did reject the deal and what he's actually looking forward to. So yeah, let's drive and talk about the $1 million deal that MacG rejected. Let's go.
Do you think they overpaid or underpaid?
Who?
Spotify.
Oh, they paid just like they paid correctly.
Yeah,
I think they paid fairly. Yeah, man. Do you think it's underpaid? Or
You feel like
overpaid?
he's underpaid?
Yeah, no, he is. For the traction dude, you must look at that guy's numbers, bro. They're insane. So I think the deal now, because the first deal was an exclusive deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him, I think, about 300. I could be wrong. Just check for me if I check. But it was exclusive. But now it's not exclusive, and it's not a. So how they're going to recoup their money is by advertising. So they are part of like the agency that's going to sell for him now. So I think after 3 or 4 years, however signed, they'll have made more than that.
Ah, I see. So now they're gonna have a share of his advertising
Yes.
from whatever brands that advertise on the
platform.
Yeah, but I think it's a compromise because they've lost exclusivity now.
Yeah,
you know?
That's
exactly.
the
Yes.
thing.
Yeah,
And
they've
they need
lost
to get it back. Yeah.
exclusivity. Now it's going to be on YouTube.
Yes.
There's even a bigger for like brands. Like,
Yes.
it's visual now.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So that's smart from both parties.
It is.
Actually, smarter, swallow your pride a bit from Spotify, still keep him, but now also tap into his marketing revenue, which will be bolstered by YouTube and the visuals.
But it's crazy, man, with this podcasting space because it's such a new industry. Like it's tough to like quantify things and like put things into perspective.
Because it's uncharted waters. yeah.
Exactly. Because I was in America and there was an American company that offered $1 million to buy the podcast network. And, I was chatting to Bara and it sounded like, a good deal. But when we looked at it, we were like, nah, man, we valued it way more than that,
Yeah,
So it's weird, man. It's a weird space. Like there's no formula, like,
Uh,
And what do they want?
ownership.
Full ownership.
Yeah.
it's like 18, 20 million rands.
Damn.
Yeah. But I said no, and here we are.
Hope you don't regret
Mind
it.
you,
man.
get.
Hope you don't regret it one day.
Look at it.
But yeah, good move though.
All right, cool. Let's go.
It's
Because it's nice being independent,
It's
dog.
tricky,
It's
yeah.
nice. Bro, I'm afraid of being captured, dog.
Yeah.
Hey?
Because that's what makes the podcast.
But how do you navigate through those conversations?
For me, regardless of money or what deal is on the table, ne? If it doesn't make sense, and if I'm not passionate about the project anymore, then I think we've lost it. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you 100%.
What would be a perfect deal then?
Where they give us the 20 million, but we still do whatever we want to do.
like
Dollars.
Joe Rogan.
Or
Yes.
That's
Sorry?
a perfect deal.
Dollars or rents
They
or
don't own this
billions?
podcast.
I get $1 million is 20 million, you said?
20 round it off, yeah.
Okay.
$1 million, yeah.
These days.
Regardless of the amount, but whatever amount is on the table, as long as we can still do what we want to do.
Okay.
Because there's nothing worse than now, okay, cool, we've sold the network to this company, whatever, and then now when we come here, we are told, hey, you can't drink on the show, hey, you can't say this.
Can't swear.
Because they are politically affiliated to whatever, you can't swear.
Can't say
It just
fuck.
kills the whole reason of us doing this, you know what I mean? So I think the independent freedom that I've experienced doing the podcast, it's not for sale for me.
Beautiful.
Hey, and you, Pinduka?
Yeah, no, same thing, man. I mean, we've had people before, I think a network that wanted to be on board, but they didn't want to buy, but they were like, you can't swear, you
Yes.
can't say fuck, you can't drink, etc. And to me, I don't get it, man. Corporates they see the numbers, they see the viewership, but the viewership is in it for the freedom that we display
yeah.
and when we speak.
That's
right?
why I
So
love-
now, when you're going to chase them away, you're doing the opposite of what you're trying to achieve by putting all these red tapes around.
And that's why I love a brand,
Shout out to Striped Horse.
like Striped Horse, who
Yeah.
More than anything, we want to amplify what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even now with the SA tour that we're doing, they're like, hey, what do you guys need? We're like, hey, man, we need this, we need this. They're jumping on board, they're helping us, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, guys, I mean, this is really, really fascinating. First and foremost, what I really like about this, indeed, the content creation, particularly from a podcast point of view, that industry is really, really progressing really fast, and it's challenging conventional media, which is first and foremost really, really great, because at the end of the day, people just want the truth. People just want to experience a situation or a podcast or whatever media that they consume that speaks to them, right? So I think Podcast and Chill therefore is a very important national treasure for people like me. I'm a chiller, but yeah, I digress. Let's get to the point. So as we've seen, MacG illustrates that he has felt that the offer in question would be limiting, and I think that's a good start to begin in terms of understanding what exactly is happening. What is it that MacG is actually unhappy about when it comes to this deal or this offer? So first and foremost, what you need to understand, yes, $1 million converted into rands is almost 20 million rands, and that's a lot of money. And therefore, I totally understand why a lot of people are saying like, hey, I will take the money and restart or do a whole new podcast, and you got the money, right? That would be ideal, but however, that is actually factually wrong in terms of the setup of the deal. The deal is not setting up, or it's not set up in that way. What's actually happening is the person making the offer is actually buying the Podcast and Chill network, the whole of it as we know it. Meaning that also includes the people or the talent working within the network, right? So therefore, when you look at it like that, it becomes very, very expensive, because remember, some people, you started off the relationship with them, build up everything to get to where it is, and that's why it's so valuable. And that being said, MacG could have been looking at it from a perpetual point of view, believing that if he were to carry this thing forward as he's going, it can be way more than, or worth way more than 20 million at the end of the day. And that's really the thinking that he's employing, and I agree with him, because at the end of the day, if the podcast started from zero and it gets to a point where somebody values it at 20 million, I mean, that just shows it's a sign of validation to self, to showing that perhaps it can go even further. And why would you believe that it can go further? It's because Podcast and Chill is the biggest podcast in Africa. The numbers speak for themselves, and they keep on growing. Now, ever since they achieved the 1 million mark, they're still growing. They've already, I think they surpassed the 250,000. Now they're sitting at 1.2 million and 50, chasing 1.5 very, very quickly. So the possibilities are quite endless. And furthermore, freedom, right, which is a very important aspect of this of the Podcast and Chill, is very key. And he also talks about that people that tend to offer want to change the creative control of the podcast, and subsequently that will actually change it to make it become something that it is not, and therefore that will be the beginning of its depreciation and I guess eventual demise. So that's another reason why he really did not like that deal. I think also the biggest reason also is, remember now, if somebody is offering you something for ownership reasons, then what that means is you're gonna have to be an employee of that particular dream that you started. And that is, for a founder and a creative, that is like literally taking yourself to jail and literally just enjoying jail because you decided to take the money. So that's another important reason why he definitely did not want to go in with this deal. And not only him, right? Whoever that's offering would also want Soul, Ghost Lady, and everybody else, the rest of the gang, to be part of this deal. Because once again, when you're buying the network, you are buying everything. You're buying the name, you're buying the content, you're buying all the rights to the content, you're buying the talent that's working within the business. They're gonna have to stay there, and then you're gonna have to or the new owner is, or should have a plan to offer everybody contracts, right? It could be a 5-year contract, 3-year contract, whatever the duration of the contract. You're going to be offered a contract if they so wish to do so, and then that contract will dictate the relationship of whoever that is working, the human capital that is working on the podcast. It will determine their affiliation to the network. And obviously now it becomes just about money, control, processes. It just won't be what it is. So that's very, very important to consider in terms of why MacG has actually rejected this offer. So that being said, I really, really agree with it. And looking at the wider industry with the guy they mentioned, which is Joe Rogan, he had initially a groundbreaking deal with Spotify, which I think was valued at 200 million, or some say, or it was reported as 100 million, and others it's actually 200 million. Either way, and this is dollars, guys, $200 million to be exclusively hosted on Spotify. That was the initial deal. It was groundbreaking. It was quite restrictive because now he had to move from YouTube and go to Spotify exclusively, and that was a bit of a mismatch. But now they have recently renewed, and now the renewal has changed from that exclusive deal, which, by the way, that exclusive deal was not ownership of the Joe Rogan podcast. It was really just they were buying his exclusivity, say, okay man, we want you to be over here, don't be anywhere else, just be here. They're not owning the podcast. They're just saying, come work or do your thing on our platform. Why I say it's a mismatch? Because YouTube was visual, and obviously the audio aspect is there by default, but now Spotify is purely audibility, and that was a bit of a mismatch, because now you miss out on another important element of the whole Joe Rogan experience. Now with the new deal, everything has been updated. They've learned their lessons. The numbers still were good enough, but then they saw potential by widening the platform. So now it's not exclusive. It's going to be available on multiple platforms. Obviously YouTube is going to be back, as well as X and wherever else they deem necessary. And what this deal has evolved to is now a revenue share agreement. Now revenue share agreement is something that also MacG would entertain, because the good thing about that, there's no ownership involved. He will still retain ownership, will still retain creative rights and everything, that he will run the podcast network the way he wants to. And what it will mean then is he will be getting money up front, that in exchange for him to share the revenue that he'll be generating from the platforms that he'll be hosting his content on. And that's really, for me, the best approach. Obviously, companies that are looking to invest and play a role in podcasts and so forth, they are going to not want to play ball so easily. You're gonna have to be proving yourself. You're gonna have to have the numbers in order to get such a deal, because at the end of the day, everybody's in it to make money. So if you are not highly geared to generate the money that such deals require, you are going to be selling yourself short and end up sacrificing way too much than you should. So it's very important to invest in yourself initially, bet on yourself, and once the numbers speak for themselves, literally follow what Podcasts and Chill has done. They have started from nowhere, focused on the product, focused on the content that they were creating, understanding their target market, and giving them exactly what they require. That has propelled them to a point whereby they started noticing the milestones. It was, from 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million. I mean, now we're pointing at 10 million subscribers eventually. So that's very, very key for you to realize as an aspiring YouTuber, somebody that's starting a podcast, whatever the case may be. It's very important for you to understand that the sacrifice at the beginning is your initial investment. You're gonna have to give sweat capital. You're gonna have to figure out how you are going to pay through the investment of cameras, using your phone, getting a team together, editing, sound. All of that is the initial investment that you are gonna be getting through to yourself, or to investing into your channel or your brand. And at the end of the day, that's going to lead to a situation whereby someone likes what you're doing. They're going to be interested from a business point of view, and they'll either want to partner with you as a fellow shareholder or literally buy the whole network. Because remember, guys, there are those people that actually literally specialize in growing YouTube channels and then selling the YouTube channel for subscribers. In other words, the size of the YouTube channel, perhaps maybe the type of subscribers, those will be the due diligence that you would do if you're into such a deal. But that's very different to what MacG was offered. MacG was not being offered the money to buy the 1 million subscribers, and that's that. I mean, if that was what it was, look, he might think about it, but the problem is he would have to also consider the fact that, is he retiring or is he willing to start all over? And once again, that goes along with the general reaction that people are going through. And if it was that type of deal, maybe the numbers will be played around a little bit different and so forth, because maybe it will be valued even higher, because now there will be a whole lot of compensation that needs to be done to sort of give everybody that has been part of the journey some sort of package, because now you have to consider gardening leave, right? In other words, you're selling everything to start all over. You need money to make life comfortable for whatever certain time that you deem feasible. So it'll be that type of thing. These things are very complicated, as MacG also has communicated that there's no template for these things. But from a business point of view, it makes sense. It's really deal. You're setting up a deal, and once you understand what the deal is worth, what are you buying in terms of the deal, that's when. Unbelievable. That's why then you end up getting into a situation whereby you can set it up. Because at the end of the day, guys, when you enter a deal, remember, there are deals that replicate themselves. It's a whole new situation. It's somebody just trying to barter or exchange some sort of value, whatever the value entailed is. And you just have to understand, what are you in it for? What do you want? What do they want? Once everybody understands that, then that's where everything makes sense, to the degree that you are able to set up the deal with the terms and whatever that's necessary. So that's really what it is. Once again, you need to understand what it is. So what this is ownership of the whole podcast. If you're going to own the whole podcast, that is sacrificing a lot, because you're not just giving away what you have worked for, but you're also giving yourself as you would be contracted to be employed to work for the new owner. And that can be quite crushing. Some people will accept it, especially if money is what you're after. You want it now. You want stability, actually. Let me not say after money, you're after stability. If you're genuinely looking for stability, then these will be the type of deals that you would entertain, whereby you don't have a problem to be working under someone and, you know, negotiate something very worthwhile. I mean, guys, remember, these type of things is what happens in bigger companies, your JSE listed companies, or just, you know, your big scale enterprises internationally. I mean, take example X, or Twitter formerly known. Elon Musk doesn't own 100% of X. He owns, I think, about 40% or 30% or something like that, or 50%, something of that. Also with Tesla, he doesn't own it 100%. I think he owns about 30% of Tesla. So you need to understand that, yes, you can become a majority shareholder, which means that you own the biggest pie more than everyone, right? And, you know, the example that I'm trying to bring out there is a lot of deals involve compromise, because if you want money now, you are compromising your ownership. So if you don't want money now, in other words, you're sacrificing and you're holding your benefits now, you are entitled to more. More can be up to 100%, and that's what MacG effectively has chosen to go for. That's why he says he values the deal even more than $1 million, right? Because of his self-belief. He has bet on himself, and he's still betting on himself. He's not done. There's so much that is being unraveled about this you know, this brand. And I mean, if you really think about it, they've been surviving on YouTube money, and them surviving on YouTube money, and the sponsors are slowly trickling in, and the sponsors are coming at a later stage, and as they're coming at a later stage, the price of sponsoring the channel is even higher. So he can get that immediate injection of funds, so long as he's busy pushing and delivering. He can literally print his own checkbook and have to sacrifice nothing in terms of ownership. He's gonna keep on rising, and effectively the value of the podcast is fundamentally perpetual. He's just gonna keep on benefiting because the work is being done, the numbers keep rising, the content keeps getting better and better, the network has a lot of talent. I mean, you look at the other shows, your Popcorn and Cheese, your Bantrizis, those channels are doing extremely well. I mean, those could have been separate YouTube channels all by themselves and get to the 1 million mark eventually. So there's a lot of future economic benefits expected towards Podcast and Chill. We've seen nothing yet, honestly. Like, there is so much that's going to happen, and yeah, I mean, as a chiller, I really love the show. So yeah, big ups to MacG and the team, and yeah, blessings and, you know, further prosperity unto them. So yeah, guys, that's really my 2 cents on that. I agree with MacG. The podcast is worth way more. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and share, comment down below your thoughts, and see you on the next one. Station.